Okay, we are here with Karen. I'm really looking forward to this conversation, to sharing Karen's story. We met a few months ago, was having some real difficulties with food and has worked this program to a T and changed her relationship with food, left binge eating in the past, and really improved her life in the process, and very bravely took on all the work that's needed to get the results of the program. It's not easy. You got to show up, but she did, and she's experienced a lot of positive growth because of that. So I really appreciate you being here and doing this and sharing your story, Karen.
Yeah, of course. Good to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So why don't we start with just hearing a bit about kind of your origin story? Like, what was the start of your issues around food?
I don't think there's one place that everything started. I think it's been sort of different places in my life. I know that some of it stems back to being a teenager and sort of having, like kind of the typical body issues and a little bit of a foray into an eating disorder there. I was anorexic for almost a year. And just sort of that's when the disordered eating started. And then I think when I moved out of home and went to university, I sort of just started to put on a lot of weight, and there was a lot of binge eating even starting then. And I think a lot of that was I would use food to soothe my anxiety. I had a lot of anxiety, depression, and so there was a lot of having a tough day, coming home with a big, plate of pierogies or something. Like, I think that's where a lot of it really started. And then there was a lot of yo-yoing. So that sort of led to, okay, I've gained weight, and then some really restrictive dieting. I lost a bunch of weight. And then, so there was lots of back and forth going on there. And it seemed like I'd go on some kind of diet, there's a million of them. And then, whatever was the diet du jour I was trying. And it would fail. Like, it would fail. And then I would end up on a binge eating, streak, and it would just go like that. So that's been pretty much how it's gone. And I also have had a lot of trauma in my life. And so I have used food and binging as a way really to soothe myself. Like I said, my anxiety and stuff like that. And also, there's been like eating out of boredom, eating just, like being lonely, like lots of emotions going on there. And then it just kind of turned into bad habits.
Yeah, I think that's well said, and not an uncommon formula. Comforting, having difficulty facing trauma or things that happen in our lives. It's a very soothing thing. Response to diets, kind of, you said, like the diet du jour. This mix of things over time starts to embed itself as a habit, and that's it's a few different kind of formulas that tend to come in, but that's not an uncommon one at all. And once you got pulled into it being a habit and this being like something you were consistently wrestling with, how would you say that it was negatively impacting your life?
Well, I was feeling like crap, like most of the time. And I mean, just like no energy, feeling like just super tired because I'm not really sleeping. I'm eating till like, 11 o'clock, 12 at night, not being able to sleep because I have like heartburn or acid reflux. Just like blood sugar spikes, and just like an overall like low mood because it's kind of like like every day I would sort of wake up in the morning and say, okay, enough already. Like, this is enough. I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to be normal. Today's the day. I'm not going to do this to myself. And then by the end of the day, I've done this to myself again. So it's just that feeling of letting myself down. It's so hard to do that every day, to let yourself down and just think that why can't I stop doing this, right? It just it didn't make sense to me. I think that's really got to be the worst part. It's just kind of feeling hopeless about it, because like, yeah, it's like sheer willpower. It doesn't work, right? So, I mean, it just doesn't. So like, there's all kinds of health issues that have come up too with me over the years. And I mean, some of it's just normal aging, but, I think the binge eating, the weight that I put on hasn't helped that. So lots of aches and pains, back issues. I haven't been exercising. So, all that has sort of just contributed to an overall, feeling of unwell.
Yeah. Those are really painful things to go through. And I agree that's the worst, or if not one of the worst for sure. Like continuously doubling down on your commitment not to do it. And then the like shame and helplessness that comes with going right back into it. You can't believe it. And this can happen hundreds of times, and it doesn't get easier. It gets harder as they pile up, eh?
Yeah, it definitely gets harder. I mean, it's just so hard on your self-esteem, because like, I was like, why can't I just stop this? What's wrong with me? Like, is there some like, and, honestly, I think that's part of it. This has been an acceptance of, what, there is something wrong here. Like it's not something wrong with me, but there is something wrong, and there's a problem here, and there's an issue that has to be solved. Like that, just that whole realization was just part of this, and getting to that point where, okay, I can't solve this problem myself, like, because I've tried and tried and tried. And so I'm going to stop beating myself up and, try something else. Right. So.
Yeah. And try something other than that redoubling down on willpower, the failure that too often comes with that. And then the like self-loathing that comes with not being like willpower, not being enough, basically. And it's incredible when we kind of zoom out away from willpower and like realize, okay, there's a problem, and see that like one of the most amazing things we did is just seeing the moving parts that are contributing to it. This is what we really try to do, and then addressing them. And that's how you create a pathway out. So I'll get to that in a moment, but I want to ask first, what else had you tried? Had you tried anything else besides just the willpower to address like the binge eating issues?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's sort of linked in with, going through a lot of grief and depression. And I started seeing a psychologist, probably about, I'm going to say 4 years ago now. And, even though she was able to help me with a lot of stuff I was going through, and I'm really grateful to her. But I tried to go there with her with the binge eating. But yeah, it just wasn't happening. Like, I don't know if it's just, seeing a therapist like once a month, it's not enough for this kind of issue. It just doesn't work. It's not enough for accountability. And I don't know there was a real understanding there of the habit part of binge eating. Like because the focus there was mostly on, psychologically what's going on and maybe why I'm doing this. And I still am working with her on some aspects of that, but there's, there's so much more to it than that, really. And that's what I've learned, through working with you, Jordan, is that like there's different pieces to this, and you sort of have to break it down and deal with all of them in a different way. There's not just one thing. So, and I've been on, antidepressant medication, and have basically, it was more down that sort of psychological road of, dealing with what's going on in my brain. But just on that sort of cognitive level, right? So it was good to work with you and open up, this whole understanding to all the facets of this issue and dealing with all the pieces, because that, when you put all that together, is what really is successful about it.
Yeah. I'm glad I asked that. What else you had tried? Because you have done a good amount of therapy, and it's important, like, for me to know and for other people to know, I'm not a therapist. I'm not here to go in depth about, old trauma and looking into the past. We do very different work from what a therapist does. And I'd like just, I guess, to ask you, for someone who's maybe in therapy and wondering what the difference is, how would you express like the differences between going to therapy to address this and doing something like this?
Well, therapy, like I said, it's like, so I'm seeing a psychologist, and her, her specialty is cognitive behavioral therapy. And so, that's sort of just like one aspect of it. Like, I think what we do is, there is some therapy. There definitely is. I mean, like, whether you're a therapist or not, like you end up counseling people anyways. But there's also a community there to do that and to help with that.
True.
That sense of community that you've created is one really key piece to this. Like, you can't be there for every single person all the time, that's impossible for any one person to do. But, there's a bunch of us, and, we have a group where we support each other, and we have Facebook where we can jump on and say, hey, I need some support here. And like, that's a really important piece of this, because it's a community of people with the same issues and the same things that they need to overcome. And maybe they're not exactly the same things, but it's so similar that we end up just bonding through that, right, and helping each other through that. I think, another big piece of it is just the strategies for, nutrition, the strategies for changing habits, when we talk about like primal brain and all that kind of stuff, that's stuff that I did not find in a psychological therapy setting at all, really. It's just, like I said, it's dealing with the different pieces of it and breaking it down, like, doing just really simple things like, setting anchors, and, just being creative, and like trying, to eat at different times of the day, and like getting the nutrition you need and all that. Like, you're very knowledgeable about all of that. And I think we also learn a lot from each other. So that's those pieces I never got out of traditional therapy.
Yeah, I think that's, again, well said. Having a combination of, there is therapeutic aspects, and there's connection and relationship and support. And then the community is, I hear that, I'm asking a lot of people often what's been most helpful for you. And we have a really good community of people who, the fact is, I don't have one friend who can relate to me on this, and very few people do. And so when you have something very unique and painful that you can connect with other people on, and there's amazing people in our group who are taking on a problem that it's very easy to believe. I remember believing this for years with certainty that it's impossible to resolve. And these people, like, we have a personal development component to the program, and these people like really showing up and growing through this. And then so the combination of having, good principles to follow, that, therapy will look at the experiences we've had and how we view them, but we're just hyper focused on this and what plays into this. And catching those moving parts like proper nutrition and habits, and so being able to work those and learn from each other in the community it's a great combination.
It is definitely. Actually, I was just thinking about how I can't remember if this was in our group, if you saw this or not, but one of our members, Linda, said, if you go back and listen to or watch the previous recordings of our groups, how much everybody has changed. And I haven't gone back and looked at them, but I think she's right, because I just remember hearing like myself and what the kind of stuff that I was saying compared to what I'm saying now. And you could say that about everybody. Everybody has grown. Everybody has, learned so much, and it has gained so much confidence, really. And you can really see that. So she made an awesome point there. And of course, we have somebody there to point that out. That's really important, right? She's been there the longest, so she knows these things.
Totally, definitely, yeah. I did see that she posted that Monday night. I think I just saw that today, and I was like, I commented on. I said, you couldn't have hit the nail more square on the head. And she said, if you just look back at the calls from a month ago. And she's right. A month ago, everybody in there was in a different place. And some people have been in that group for 10 months. And if we look back at those, you've been in there for probably going on 4 or 5 months, different person. And that's something to feed off of, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually, I kind of want to look back on those, but I kind of don't as well. That it would just feel embarrassing at this point, I think. I don't know. I don't want to look back. I just want to look forward, I guess. No, it's good to know where you've been, but I don't want to dwell there. So, but yeah, it really has been a transformation. I do believe that.
Yeah. You make a good point about it. Would be strange. It would be like watching a different version of yourself, alternate version of yourself. Yeah. And I can remember that version of you. And so it's but it would be strange. But it's nice to see a post like that and remember, and then look forward and see that, okay, so this plus time, doors keep opening. It's nice to look forward to. Mm-hmm. So now that, like you said, it's been a transformation, and you have grown through the problem, and all this good has happened. What would you say, how would you say life is different now from when you started a few months ago?
Yeah, it's hard to believe, but yeah, I think it's only been 4 months, which isn't really that long. But yeah, it's so much different now. I exercise pretty close to every day. Not always. Sometimes I'll take a break here and there. But I was not able to exercise at all before. And it's not for a lack of wanting to. I really did want to. I just didn't. And now I can't imagine not doing it. It's just become part of what I do. I don't even think about it. I just do it. Just total, my diet has changed so much. I eat so much more protein that I didn't even realize before I wasn't getting enough protein, but that's why I was hungry all the time. And that's why I would, be constantly wanting to eat stuff. And I was just really eating the wrong stuff. So like I probably doubled or more than doubled my protein intake for a day. Like it's pretty amazing. And I definitely haven't, doubled the calorie intake or anything like that. Like it's, I'm not eating more, I'm just eating more targeted things, and I'm enjoying the food that I eat. It's not like, oh God, I gotta eat another egg. I like eating that way. And I think you start to like it because you start to feel better, right? Like I'm not just, eating a bunch of crap. Yeah, I'm not hungry all the time. I don't have my blood sugar isn't like all over the place. Like I would have said before, I was hypoglycemic a lot. I would have crashes where I would get like the shakes and feel like I was going to pass out, and I don't get that at all anymore. It's awesome. Yeah, so just the eating has made a huge difference. The exercise has made a huge difference just in how I feel. So I have so much more energy. I sleep so much better. I have like, I think just overall, my health has been better. Like I do still get some aches and pains here and there, but it's been dramatically better. Before all this, like I was really suffering a lot. Like I would be like walking around like an 80-year-old woman. Like it was ridiculous. Like think actually a few times my 94-year-old mother was walking better than I was. That's just sad. Like, so like just overall health. And then the psychological parts of it are like I've accomplished so much. I feel like a new sense of myself and a new confidence, and like because of all the non-food goals that I've introduced, like I finished writing a novel. Like like that was like holy crap, right? And I've always been like a creative person, and I feel that creativity coming up a lot more than it was before. Like I get a lot more, ideas for all kinds of things now than I used to. Like my mind's just more active because my body's more active and I'm healthier. So it just all sort of comes together. And the confidence comes in having done what I set out to do and succeeded, and like, yeah, that's worth so much to me, honestly. Like I haven't let myself down. I've just gone forward. It's not perfect, but part of this was excuse me, part of this was learning that I don't have to be perfect too, and I can have some slip ups here and there, and I'm not going to beat myself up for it. So being kinder to myself, and yeah, it's just really been like overall it's been a really great feeling, honestly. Like every aspect of my life is better.
Yeah. And the credit's all yours. It's amazing how much from like day one that you showed up at every crossroads. And I want to celebrate you. I finished reading your book today, and loved it. And this is like, we set non-food goals, and we have non-food nourishment. And this is one of the 4 components where we're better meeting our needs outside of food to mitigate the need to cope through food. And we're improving our mental health and our overall confidence, because we are trying to make better food decisions, but at the end of the day, at the heart of that is a human being who is suffering and thriving and moving through their life. So we level that up. We definitely mitigate the need to self-sabotage through food, or to cope through food. And the non-food goals and the non-food nourishment, for some people it's like, for me, it's getting acupuncture every 2 weeks, or going for walks. They vary in the need that they serve and size, I guess. But you took on like 2 huge ones for you, was go from resisting exercise to having it as like an almost daily habit. That is locked. You went from kind of resisting doing it to now, if you tweak a muscle or something, you're like, oh my God, imagine if I couldn't do this. So from afraid to do it in a way to afraid to lose it. I know we talk about that a lot, is a huge switch flipped. And then writing a book, like this is a lifelong goal for, 9 people out of 10, and finishing it. And then me getting to read it, was a beautiful experience that we shared, which at so many times you could have been like, this was too big, that you really did it. And so, yeah, I just want to shout you out for that. It's one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of. And great story. And I'll be sending out the link once we get it published, if you let me.
Of course. Yeah. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah. So then I wanted to ask you if you looked at like your relationship with food before, like how often was binging, what was it like? And then what's your relationship with food like now, what you choose to eat, how you interact with it and think about it?
Before, I would say I would do okay during the day. I'm busy at work, and like there was more of a routine there. But then as soon as the evening would hit, like I would have dinner, and maybe I wouldn't have a really nutritious dinner. But I would eat dinner, and then I would continue to eat pretty much for the rest of the night. Sometimes it was worse than others. Sometimes there was a run out to the store to, buy junk food, or, a trip to Dairy Queen or whatever. Like there was just lots of, eating mostly of junk. Like I would say like Doritos and ice cream were probably in my top 2, or chips of any kind for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like I think about that now and just go, I don't even want to. Actually, I was in the grocery store today, shopping for like Thanksgiving stuff, and I passed a bunch of chips, and I kind of looked at them, and like they don't have the same appeal they used to. I mean, I'm not saying I don't like them anymore. I still do, but I don't have that. I don't know how to explain it. I just don't have that compulsion, I guess, anymore. And part of it was it's not just eating. It's like it's an isolating activity too. So it's like, I'm there with my bag of Doritos, and I'm curled up in my fuzzy blanket on the couch, and I turn my phone off, and like I'm just just like in my cocoon, and my self-soothing, cocoon of shame. And yeah, I just don't do that anymore. Like I'm doing more stuff in the evenings. I do sit around and watch TV sometimes, but and then I get bored, and I'll do, like, I have other things that I do. I have I have hobbies, or like I'm going out more with people and getting out more, doing different things. Like just, I don't know, some of it's exploring inner child, almost like just a few. I'm going out tomorrow night with a couple of girlfriends, and we're just going to ride scooters around like maniacs. And, it's just stuff like that. Like I just come up with new things to do. I've done tons of kayaking over the summer, and like I just don't feel like I'm in that cocoon of eating anymore. Do I still have treats and ice cream and stuff like that? Yes, I do. But you've taught me, like, if you're gonna have your treat, then own that, and maybe try it, maybe plan it, try it somewhere else. Like, like after we go scootering, like maniacs, we're gonna, maybe grab an ice cream or something. So it's like it's not hiding in my cocoon anymore. It's different, and it feels normal. Like it feels like what normal people do. So it's a good feeling, because I mean, normal people have treats and even eat chips, and they just have control over it, right? And don't need to eat the whole bag of Doritos to feel satisfied. So there are still foods that I totally avoid and I don't bring into my house. And I don't know, honestly, I don't know what I would do if I had a bag of Doritos in my house. I'm not sure. But I'm gonna continue to not go there, because I don't really want it anyway. So why would I, right? I've learned to appreciate better food as well, like just higher quality. I wouldn't say I'm quite a foodie, but maybe I'm leaning towards being a foodie. Like what goes in now has to be good. It can't just be mediocre, like, oh, I'm throwing this down there because I need to eat something. No, it's gonna be like, I've cooked this and it's delicious, or I've tried a new recipe. I learned a lot from getting, the subscription boxes, like HelloFresh or Chef's Plate. Like had those for a while and learned lots from that. And it's just, food isn't the enemy. Like it's something we need. It's just it's a different mindset on it, really. I can't even remember what your question was. I've just been rattling off stuff.
Yeah, no, it was a great answer. Basically just looking at the difference of what it was like then and what it's like now. And like, to summarize, like you talked about it, Doritos and ice cream, blizzards and stuff. Definitely I'm getting like, I've been there. Those are a lot of my core behaviors in the past. And having that as like a comfort thing and a cocoon, a nesting thing, a hiding thing, having it be very regular, often maybe eating really well during the day, and then having that be something that inevitably and regularly happens at night. And then to where now we like to really honor our love for food, but not just with volume and palatability. And your journey with Chef's Plate was I think a big part of that growth, to where you tapped a little bit into that inner foodie and learned a lot, developed more patience and care with the foods you provide for yourself. And now not having that compulsion, like when you see the chips, you can have them. Sometimes you might have them, but not having a compulsion toward them. I also like what you said about like, it's okay if there are boundaries that you need to have, like not having certain foods in your house. We don't automatically label that restrictive, but we're very careful with, if we get a pulse of restriction, with adjusting so that we don't set up for binging. But yeah, those boundaries can be helpful if they're placed right. And then you talked a lot about like life, like stopping this problem. A lot of our potential is wrapped up in the problem and our confidence and our personal energy. And now stopping it is kind of the beginning of a whole bunch of stuff, of life, of going scootering and having treats in those environments, and kayaking, and you just enjoyed your daughter's wedding, and all kinds of life after this problem, which dominates life. So I think, I think that was really beautifully put as a side by side of what it was like then and now. What would you say if you had to pick anything? What's the best part about not being stuck in like a binge cycle anymore?
It's hard to pick one thing. Honestly, I just think, like it just all kind of comes together for just feeling like I can do this, honestly. Like it's just that, it's like going from hopelessness to realizing that yes, I can manage this. Yes, I can conquer it, right? Like I think that's the best thing about it. Because there's so many things that come together to create that. But it's just the feeling like, yeah, there's hope. I'm doing this. I can continue to do this. And I will do it. Yeah, it's a great feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, it is hard to pick one thing, but to like not have the problem anymore, to feel like, to feel hope as opposed to hopelessness is really what's at the heart of it. So I think that's a great answer. The last question I want to ask you is, it can be hard to join a program like this. You find something online, it's a personal problem. You are on the other side enjoying all these benefits, really changing every area of your life because you took that leap. And so if you could speak to, like, I guess your former self or someone who's on the other side, maybe skeptical, but really struggling, what about whether it actually works and what it's like, what would you say to your former self or to that person thinking about it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very skeptical. There's no doubt about that. I was at a point of, that desperation point where it's like, I have to do something, right? And I think a lot of people get there, but you don't have to be there. I think you just have to, I mean, it helps to have these testimonials from people for sure. I think it would have helped me, although, because I was in that place of, I absolutely just need to do this because there's nothing else. But if I was on the fence, I would be like, did this help other people? And I can honestly say, if I'm talking to somebody who's skeptical, I've seen we've already talked about this. I've seen the transformation. I've seen lots of people, started later than I did, already have huge wins and successes in this program. I think that once you learn a little bit more about the program, you kind of realize that this may actually be the only way to do this. I don't think there's that many other ways to accomplish this, honestly. It's very common sense. It's very, logical for there's no smoke and mirrors. It's just, you get coached, you have a community of people to help you, and you do the work. That's what it is. And there's nothing easy about it either. but if you're motivated, to change, and you're willing to put in the work, you'll succeed at this. There's no reason why you won't. It just makes sense.
I think that's very well put. That's beautiful. I really like hearing you speak like that. It is very common sense, and it does take work, and you do have the support. And if you point yourself at it, this common sense pathway out, and you do it, it's absolutely possible. I think that solving the problem at some point is a certainty if you work the steps and the principles that we have. And you couldn't have worked them more to a T. So I'm really happy for you and grateful for you to come in and utilize everything.
Well, I'm enormously grateful for you, Jordan, and for what you've put together here. It's been life-changing, monumentally for me and so many other people. Thank you so much for doing this and for continuing to do it. And I very much appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you a lot as well. I really do. We've had an amazing experience. And I'll consider you a friend forever. We've walked, a beautiful journey together. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah, great. So again, I'll finish there. I really appreciate your time. Do you have any last thoughts or anything before we finish?
No, just again, thank you so much. And this was a good experience too. Just getting all the thoughts out there and going through the journey, in my head. That was a good experience too. So thank you very much.
Yeah, it's nice it's really affirming at the end to kind of like state in your words all that you've done and look back. So again, showing up for yourself and reaping the rewards. So cool. We will finish there. Thank you. I'm eternally grateful for you, Karen, and hope you have a great evening.
Okay. Thank you very much. Take care.
You bet.